Hey everybody, this is dHunter, bringing another action figure collection video. Today, we're going to be looking at the early years of Batman 5-inch action figure collecting. This has been Kenner, and Toybiz had the license. Kenner had the Superpowers license, then went to Toybiz for the DC Superheroes comics and the Batman 1999 line. Of course, it went back to Kenner shortly afterwards. They found out what a cash cow Batman was. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the old school figures, starting with Superpowers, going on to DC comic superheroes, and then to the Toybiz 1989 Batman line. I don't have all the Batman and related unopened characters here, but I have most of them. So, let's keep going. Before we dig into this video, let's take a quick look at my overall action figure collection. Here's when I had everything laid out in the house. So I think I've finally done it. I've unpacked all of the figures. As you can see here, we have the Diamond Select Toys Gotham collection. Here's a bunch of my Mezco unopened figures. Some more Mattel stuff. Here's the Legends of the Dark Knight line. This is the Batman Power Attack line. Sort of Batman Unlimited. All my Justice League Unlimited stuff. This is the entire DC Direct and DC Collectibles Arkham collection. Mattel's 1966 line. DC Superhero Girls. All the different NECA Batman figures. Some Target exclusive line. All the amazing Yamaguchi figures back there. Some Spin Master stuff. The Mattel Batman Missions line. Of course, in the very back, it's my entire comic collection with all the recent McFarlane releases in front. And above that, got a bunch of DC Direct and Mattel figures in the last several years. Moving on, pretty much the entire Mattel's The Batman line. Back here in the back, got my SH Figure Arts Batman figures. This side, we've got all the different Mattel Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins figures. Massive amount of piles. Back here, we've got the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series figures, and a lot of them are on top as well. Can't wait to get to that video. That one and the Arkham collection and DC Universe Classics. Some videos I'm really excited to do. Here are the Mattel figures. I can see the Batman Legacy, Batman Unlimited. It goes all the way from the original Batman line. Here's the Batmobile. And it's going to go all the way to DC Superheroes, DC Universe Classics, and Multiverse. A ton of figures. Great era with Mattel. Fun stuff, but I do like what McFarlane's doing, but I do miss these days, that's for sure. Going back to Kenner and Hasbro, ton of Batman Beyond, Batman the Animated Series stuff. I mean, that just seemed endless to go through, my word. Look at these piles of unopened figures. Batman Animated Series continues all the way back here. Absolute ton of stuff just stacked up. On top of this table here, got all the Mafex figures and a bunch of one-offs. Some Hasbro, some McFarlane, or Mattel rather, anniversary figures. Amazing Yamaguchi, Kia Asima, all kind of different import type stuff. Then we've got JLA and Total Justice figures. And then on to all the rest of the DC Direct stuff. Bunch of DC Direct Batman related figures. Some more chill in the back here. And I filled up all these shelves temporarily, just storing all these DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And it's almost done. Here's the Mattel Batman Brave and the Bold line. I did not realize how extensive that got. And a ton more Brave and the Bold down here. Moving on again, some old Toybiz, Super Friends, and DC superhero figures, leading into the Dark Knight collection. Then we'll go to the Batman Returns figures. And then, of course, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. There's a bunch of different Batcaves. And some more animated stuff in the back there. Here are all the figures laid out on my table. This is sort of when I started getting into action figures as a small child. I had a lot of these superpowers and 99 Batman figures. This is what started me on the path I'm at today. In this video, we'll take a look at the superpowers figures first. I'll tell you which ones I had as a kid and which I'm still trying to find as an adult. Then we'll move on to the other couple lines. So, hope you enjoy, and we'll start with the superpowers figures. Here are all of my Batman-related characters from the superpowers collection that are unopened. I don't have them all, but I've got more than half of them. I have Penguin, Joker, and Robin. I believe there's also a Batman and a Batmobile that I potentially could get unopened, although they're quite pricey nowadays. Probably realistically will never actually get them in hand. As a kid, I definitely had all three of these figures. Definitely a lot of nostalgia looking at them. So let's take a look at the packaging. Here's Robin, old school classic Dick Grayson in his traditional outfit. Superpowers collection, Robin, the Teen Wonder. He comes with a Power Action Karate Chop feature. By Kenner, there's a fan club offer. He comes with a little mini comic back in there. Pretty cool. Backside, there's a barcode that I cannot imagine would help anybody at this point. There's a checklist of all the other figures. As a kid, I do remember I had Superman, Batman and Robin. I had Martian Manhunter. I had Lex Luthor, Joker, Penguin. That's about all I had from up there. Down below, there is that Batmobile. I never actually had that as a kid, but I do have a loose one as an adult. In a perfect world, I would have both Batman and the Batmobile unopened, but they're very difficult to track down nowadays. I did have a chance to get this Batman for like $35. He was kind of rough shape. This is better part 20 years ago. I didn't jump on it. I definitely should have. And then we have Joker here. I definitely had him as a kid as well. I remember that mallet. It comes with a little comic as well. Fan club offer. You can see Joker with a trench coat and the hat. Figure doesn't come with a hat. He definitely should have. Pretty cool old school comics. Checklist a little bit different here. You can see less figures. Hall of Justice. Kind of Batman related. I do have a loose one of those as well. The packaging kind of rough shape, but happy to have nonetheless. Then we have Penguin here. He comes with an umbrella. Pretty cool. Similar packaging. Got the Penguin up here. Power Action umbrella arm. Backside, he's got the bigger checklist. As far as the figures that I have loose from this collection, I have both Penguin and Robin. I don't collect loose figures in this scale. They're just too small for my overall collection. When I got Penguin, I didn't buy him to use as Penguin. I didn't need that Penguin, just far too small. I bought two of them and repainted him into custom Tweedledee and Tweedledum. A couple of old school Batman rogues. One of those figures is a Superpowers Penguin, and one is a Batman Returns Penguin. I can tell because the sculpt is a little bit different, and that was my intention. I wanted them to look almost exactly the same, but some slight differences. And then I have that loose Robin. The reason I got that guy, I thought I might be able to throw into a glass case and have him be like Jason Todd's suit in the Batcave, but that didn't work for a number of reasons. Mainly because all the different fleshy parts that are plastic, I have to cut them up, and never took the time to do that. Looking closely at Robin, he actually looks to be the Robin from the DC Comics superhero line, not from the Superpowers line, and I'll show you why shortly. And I also have the Batmobile and the Hall of Justice loose. The Batmobile, it's in pretty decent shape. I don't think it's missing any parts. The Hall of Justice is not complete, but it has the majority of the parts. Now to look at the DC Comics superheroes line. Now I'm not completely certain of the history of which company had what and how it happened, but obviously Kenner did the Superpowers figures, and then it looks like Toybiz acquired the DC license at this point, and I would assume they were able to acquire the sculpts that Kenner made, as there are a lot of what appears to be re-releases. So we have Riddler, Two-Face, Robin, Penguin, and Mr. Freeze. I believe this line ran alongside of the 1989 Batman line that Toybiz was also making. The figures are in the same scale, the packaging is very similar. I love it. Some old school classic comic book heroes and villains. As a kid, I definitely had Two-Face, Robin, Penguin, and Mr. Freeze. I don't think I had Riddler. Possible I did. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at him. Riddler here in his old spandex suit, got the question marks all over him, purple gloves. Includes pre-printed riddles and clues. You can sort of see some paper behind him. I'd be really curious what those were like. See the price tag? It's from Toys R Us back in the old day. Can't even really tell what the price is on there, but the new markdown price at $2.98. Gotta love it. Toybiz. Backside here, you can see some of the figures. Wonder Woman, Superman, Lex Luthor. I definitely had that Lex. I'm not sure if the Superman was this one or the Superpowers version. Penguin and Riddler. Freeze and Robin. Little car dude cut out. Pretty cool. Old school figure. Next we have Two-Face. His card is starting to come off, and that's pretty annoying. Not surviving the test of time very well. Includes coin flipping action. That's one thing I hated on this guy when I was a kid. That giant oversized coin stuck in his hand. I ripped it out and it looked like shit. I didn't cut it with a knife as a kid. I was just a little kid. I didn't want that coin. Two-Face. Backside here, a little bit of a bigger checklist. Here's Batman and Robin, a couple different lines together, the comic line and the movie line, and then a bunch of other heroes. Now we've got the Robin here. He comes with a batarang and a little grapple. Pretty cool. He has the same karate chop action. Sculpt looks very similar, possibly identical to the Superpowers line, but this one's by Toybiz. Backside here, it's got the checklist that was on the backside of Riddler, a little bit smaller. Two-Face must have been a later assortment. Of course, he has that same collector's card. Then we've got Penguin here. Includes a firing missile. His accessory is definitely different. The umbrella at the front here. Sculpt looks to be the same. This is the Penguin. Backside here, same checklist as Riddler and Robin, and his collector's card. And finally, we have Mr. Freeze. He's got a $3.99 Toys R Us price tag on him. He changes color. I definitely remember having this guy. Pretty sure I lost his helmet. Pretty sure I ripped off his little tubes. Color changing things, pretty cool. Got Mr. Freeze. Backside, that original checklist. And then there's his collector's card. I'm pretty sure these 5 figures were all the Batman-related figures in the DC Comics superheroes line. Looking at these 2 figures up close, the sculpt appears to be exactly the same, and that doesn't necessarily mean it is. I know in Kenner took the license back over, there were a bunch of figures that appear to be the same sculpt as the Toybiz figures, but they were slightly different. Looking at these 2 guys up close, the Superpowers Robin here, you can see the white in his teeth. On the comic version, you cannot. I can't really tell if it's a different sculpted head or if they just simply painted over the part flesh on this guy and made him white here. They certainly appear to be exactly the same sculpt. They both have the same action feature. I really don't see any noticeable differences. And then, when it comes to these Penguin figures, they also appear to be the exact same sculpt. Obviously the accessories is different, but even the wrinkles on his shirt are the same, so I would say with pretty much complete certainty that Toybiz did get access to all of Kenner's sculpts when they acquired the DC license. The only real difference I see on these figures, this one here doesn't really have an eye painted, almost looks like his left eye is shut. This one here is a black circle in the eye. Kind of makes you think maybe the heads are different, but the bodies are definitely the same. The little wrinkles here under his bow tie are the same on both the figures. And as far as the loose ones go, I have both the Penguin and Robin loose from this line. I'm pretty sure the Penguin figure that I repainted into Tweedledee and Tweedledum is actually from the Superpowers line, and the Robin figure is actually from this line. The reason I determined that is the Penguin has the completely shut eye, and then Robin doesn't have his teeth white. Believe him to be from the Toybiz line. And now moving on to the Batman 1989 Toybiz line. I kind of like the fact that they made movie figures and comic figures concurrently, that we could mix and match. The only way to have a Toybiz Batman and Robin is to have this movie Batman with the comic Robin. And it doesn't really make sense, but I loved it as a kid. As an adult, I think it's kind of cool too. So there are many pieces I don't have from this line. These are all the figures that are Batman related. We do have the Batcave in the back. There was also, I think, 2 versions of the Batmobile made with this line. Neither one had the canopy, but one came with the cocoon that goes on the outside, and one did not. I think they also made a Batwing. So let's take a look at the figures. As a kid, I'm pretty sure I had all 3 of these guys. Bob the Goon, Joker, and Batman. This Batman has a special place in my heart. He was one of the first Batman figures I had. Yeah, I had the Superpowers version, but I was a bit older when I had this one. Saw the movie, got the figure, became very attached to it. As you can see, it's got Batman, the 1989 movie logo. He comes with a bat rope. In the package here, he's got his Batarang, his grapnel launcher, and then his rope that'll sort of pull off the figure with a rope attached to him, and it'll retract him back in. Very cool. I had a lot of fun with that. I remember I had some friends with this Batman, and they played with this so much they ripped the rope off. This guy's from Toybiz. Backside, you can see the checklist. Here are the 3 figures. There's a Batwing, there's a Batmobile, and there's a Batcave. He also has another one of those card cutout things. I remember the Batmobile being quite affordable. At least this is many years later when purchasing it. The Dark Knight Collection, Kenner's version of the Batmobile, is crazy rare and expensive. It has a sliding canopy and is much more screen accurate, although it doesn't have the cocoon, which is a really cool feature. Now looking at Joker here, see the top, we have an old school Target price tag halfway ripped off. This is the Joker. Comes with a hat. Looks like sort of backpack thing with a tube. You'll attach it to him, fill it with water, and it can spray water out of his acid flower. Very, very cool. He has his squirting orchid by Toybiz. Backside, really nothing different. And there's his card. And then we have Bob the Goon, and I love that they made a figure of him. I cannot believe they did. I do not understand the logic behind this, but I love it. Love having a henchman for your villains. It comes with a hat, a gun, and a knife. He has the Joker Gang logo on his chest. It does not look like the actor at all, but still super cool. And hell, this drawing doesn't look like the actor either. He has a power kick action, which is super annoying on the figure. Over time, it gets very loose. Bob the Goon. Backside, you can see his kicking action. There's his collector's card. And the checklist is exactly the same. And as far as the figures here, the ones I have loose is just Bob the Goon. I got him, and I thought, I've got to have this Joker henchman. But he's just so small, he doesn't even get to stay on my Joker shelf anymore. And over time, it is almost impossible to stand him up. His kicking feature is so loose, he can pretty much only sit down. It took me at least 15 tries to sort of gently put him here and hold him into place. I think it's so cool they ever made a figure of him, and I would absolutely love to get a 6 or 7 inch version of this guy. Like I said before, this Batman from the movie and this Robin from the comics is pretty much the only way you could have Batman and Robin together, at least both from Toybiz. They have the exact same Batarang repurposed for Robin. Notice the packaging, how similar it is. One simply says Batman on the top, one says DC Comics Superheroes. Beyond that, the sort of gold version, the stars, you can tell it's part of the same line, just sort of different offshoots. And in recent history, NECA did make an anniversary figure. It's sort of an homage to the old Toybiz figure. You can see the packaging has the same gold in the background, the stars across the top, but the sculpt is completely modernized, looks absolutely fantastic as Michael Keaton. I'd say this Keaton NECA Batman is in my top 5 Batman figures for sure. And then we have this old school Toybiz Batcave. You can see the background of the package. It's gold, just like the figures. The top left, it says 5 action-packed movie scenes, which is preposterous. None of those things actually happen in the movie. The Joker was never in the actual Batcave. So let's take a look at it. Pretty big box. Mine has a little price tag up here. It looks like from a store called Hills. $24.97 back in the day. I don't think that store even exists anymore. You can see the cave fully assembled here. It had both the front and back. Here's sort of the cave portion here. Then it had sort of an inside piece. Very cool. Batman at the computer. Batman uses his exercise bar, I guess. The top here, you can see it's got a nice piece ripped out, which is pretty annoying. Then a little action scene with Joker and Batman in the cave. One side here says Batman, Batcave. It still has the original staples in here. This thing has never been opened. Other side, Batman and Batcave. The back, you kind of see an example of how the back of the cave would look. Pretty cool set. At one point it was in my Batcave, but it's far too small for the figures nowadays. Like I said before, I do have this thing loose as well. It used to be part of my massive Batcave setup, but my Batcave has outgrown this. This thing is far too small for my current action figure collection. I do actually have all of the pieces complete. I have the walkway, the staircase, all that sort of stuff, but they're in a tote and they're very difficult to get at. And as far as the other loose items I have from this set, I have both the Batwing and the Batmobile with the cocoon on it. I don't have either of these things unopened, but I was very happy to have some movie-accurate vehicles for my collection. Like I said before, I believe they made 2 versions of Batmobile, one that came with the cocoon, and one that did not. I also have the Joker van and the Joker cycle as well. So overall, the Toybiz and Kenner Old School Superpowers and Batman 1989 collection is very nice. I mean, it's very dated by today's action figure standards, but there's a lot of nostalgia tied to these items. I had the majority of them as a kid, and that was my gateway into Batman action figure collecting as a child. So it holds a very special place in my heart. Like I said, they're very basic, but they're old school comic accurate action figures, and I love that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Look out for episode 3. That's going to contain Kenner's The Dark Knight collection. Looking forward to digging in deep to that. So this is dHunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews and collection videos from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is dHunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.